The fire in her hair. The day everything changed for Maya Jackson. Maya Jackson had only just begun her freshman year at Eastwood High when a single, malicious act would rip through her world like a blade through silk. It was a sunny September afternoon. The courtyard buzzed with chatter as students took their time between classes, laughing, texting, and soaking in the fresh start of a new school year. Maya was leaning against a stone bench, surrounded by a few classmates she'd recently befriended. She was smiling, relaxed in a way that only came from finally feeling like she was settling in. Then, in one unthinkable moment, everything changed. A boy crept up behind her, one she barely knew beyond share math class. He didn't say a word. No warning. No joke. No fight. He simply poured an entire bottle of industrial superglue over the back of Maya's head. It took seconds. First, confusion. Then a searing, unbearable heat erupted across her scalp. The screams tore from Maya's throat before her brain could catch up. Her friends gasped and backed away. The glue didn't just coat her long, dark curls. It clung to her skin, fused it. The chemical reaction began burning almost instantly, leaving her with painful first-degree burns across the back of her scalp. The sensation, she would later say, felt like fire dancing across her skull. The boy, he shrugged, smirked, walked away like nothing happened. And the school's response? An in-school suspension. 3 days. No expulsión. No police report. No real consequences. Maya's father, Elijah Jackson, a retired Army Ranger, was at the school within an hour, his boots echoing down the linoleum hallways, his eyes stormy with rage. But when he got there, the staff acted as if it was nothing more than a prank gone too far. The nurse barely looked at Maya's head. No ice pack. No calls to a burn unit. It was Maya's mother, Kiera, who drove her to urgent care, where doctors were horrified to see chemical burns, swelling, and hair so hardened by glue it had to be shaved off entirely. For Maya, it was devastating. Her hair had always been a source of pride, voluminous, healthy, carefully maintained. Her mother used to braid it every Sunday night, and Maya had grown up with those quiet moments as their sacred ritual. But now all of it was gone. Shorn off. The mirror didn't recognize her anymore. But what the glue hadn't burned, what it couldn't touch, was her spirit. Her mom launched a Facebook page called Justice for Maya. She wasn't sure what would come of it. Maybe a few local supporters, maybe a place to vent. But within 48 hours, it went viral. Strangers from all over the country commented, sent care packages, offered words of encouragement. One local hairstylist, Ava Michaels, offered to help Maya feel whole again. And she did, creating a bold, stunning new look that Maya wore not like a wound, but a statement. The transformation was powerful, not just physically, but emotionally. Maya didn't hide. She walked back into that school building the following week with her head held high, a defiant gleam in her eye, and a style that dared anyone to pity her. But as strong as she appeared, the truth lingered. The boy who attacked her was still there. He walked the same halls, ate lunch in the same cafeteria. He even laughed about it once in earshot. 3 days. That was all it took for the school to consider the matter closed. For Maya's family, that wasn't justice. It was mockery. They requested he be removed from campus. The school refused. There's no permanent damage, the principal had said. Let's all just move on. Move on? Elijah and Kiera refused. They pulled Maya out of school immediately. We're not raising our daughter to believe she has to sit beside her attacker just to get an education, Elijah told the school board. But behind the scenes, they were already talking to lawyers. It wasn't about ruining anyone's life. It was about accountability. A girl had been physically assaulted, permanently scarred, humiliated, and the system treated it like a minor disciplinary infraction. They wanted to send a message. Maya deserved better. All kids did. So they filed a lawsuit against the school district and the boy's family. The process was grueling. The school tried to downplay it all. Their lawyers claimed it wasn't assault, just an immature act. But the medical reports told a different story. So did the photos of Maya's burns. So did the videos from cell phones. Footage that surfaced of the boy laughing about what he did just minutes after the attack. It all added up. Maya's lawyer, a sharp, young woman named Clarissa Freeman, made sure the jury understood one thing. Maya wasn't just a victim of a cruel act. She was a victim of a system that decided her pain didn't matter enough to act. And in the end, the jury agreed. The verdict: the school was found negligent for failing to protect Maya. The boy was expelled and ordered into juvenile counseling. Maya's family received a settlement, but more than the money, they got what they truly wanted: acknowledgement, accountability, justice. The day the verdict was announced, Maya stood outside the courthouse, a soft wind tugging at her jacket. Cameras surrounded her, microphones shoved in her face, but all she said was this: "I just wanted to feel safe. I wanted to know I mattered." And she did. Her story exploded online. More parents spoke out. More students came forward with similar stories. Maya had become something she never asked to be: a symbol of resilience. A girl who had everything taken from her in one violent act and turned it into something that made others stronger. She returned to school, this time to a new campus where she was welcomed not as a victim but as a survivor. She joined student leadership, started a support group for bullied students, and continued to speak out, never from a place of bitterness but from a place of power. And through it all, her parents stood beside her. Elijah often said, "She fought a battle most adults couldn't handle." And she never flinched. As for the boy who glued her hair, no one ever heard from him again. But Maya's name? It was etched into school board policy, into anti-bullying campaigns, into the hearts of kids who looked in the mirror and felt stronger because they knew her story. What happened that day in the courtyard could have destroyed her. But instead, Maya Jackson turned it into fire. Not the kind that burns, the kind that forges steel.